Let's turn the page now to this year and what will be for each of these teams. We just finished our camp tour. I want to get impressions from each one of you guys. And Howard, I'll start with you with Nebraska.
Well, this is a team I really like, particularly their offensive line. You talk about the guys up front. This is what's going to make this team go. A top 10 team last year, rushing the football in the country, led obviously in the Big Ten. This is an athletic offensive line that I really like, led by Spencer Long. This is a team that's got to continue to control the line of scrimmage, and they're set up to do it.
I tell you, my impressions of Iowa when we were at practice is that they're typical of an Iowa team. They're very strong in the box, meaning offensively, the offensive line and the running backs have really improved, and their running back depth is back. The defense mirrors the offense. Deep at the defensive line with at least 6 guys ready to go, really talented at linebacker. Where they need help is outside the box, explosive plays from the secondary and from the wide receivers.
Talking about explosive plays, this young man right here, Devin Gardner, is going to make several explosive plays, not only in the run game, but particularly in the passing game. A guy that's a student of the game, understands what he needs to do to get better this year, to improve his game, his accuracy. Keep an eye on him. He's going to be dynamic.
Yeah, he really is. He's a special kid, too, as we visited with him, Howard, on this set. He is really special. Michigan State, I'm going to tell you this. I'll explain this later. You know what the Michigan State defense needs? Is really good quarterback play. I'll explain later. Andrew Maxwell's been named the starter. He's the veteran. He knows the offense the best. He's the most consistent. What Andrew Maxwell needs is performance from the running backs and from the wide receivers. And I suggest to you, being at practice, there's talent at the running back and the defense and the wide receiver.
If you look at Minnesota from a defensive standpoint, I really like what they're doing up front, the D-line, and all of a sudden in the secondary. So the linebackers are the guys that are going to have to step up and make plays for them. Damian Wilson, a junior college player, is going to get an opportunity to be the guy in the middle calling the defense. It's going to be imperative for him to make big plays and make sure this defense is set up correctly.
Yeah, much improved. How about the way we started the camp show at Northwestern? Can they compete for the Legends? And we all said yes. This is an improved team. The most talented team Pat Fitzgerald's had. I believe Kane Coulter is a special quarterback. I believe Venrick Mark is a special running back. And with those two, they can really be special on offense and have a special season. They are very impressive. Best team Fitz has had.
It's a Northwestern team that very well could have won it last year. They had 2 division losses. One was by a point to Nebraska, one in overtime to Michigan. Close games not unique to the Cats, though. 8 of the 15 division games were decided by 8 or fewer points. Michigan State's kind of the ultimate example there. 4 of its 5 Legends games decided by 4 or fewer. So pretty close, despite the fact that Nebraska ran through this with an unblemished record. Now, after seeing these teams in person and driving on the bus and discussing this as we went, I think we reached a consensus among the 3 of us that this is a 4-team race to win the Legends. You started the tour, I think, thinking it was maybe a 3-team race. You finished thinking it's 4. Why 4?
I added Michigan State because obviously they're very talented on defense and very good on defense. Then you look at spring practice, running back and wide receiver, and you don't see it, but you see running back and wide receiver at camp. So that's why I believe that Michigan State is in the hunt. They get good quarterback play. Howard, they're in the hunt. I think Michigan's the most balanced team. I think Northwestern's very talented but has a tough schedule. And I think Nebraska, when you look at their crossovers, Illinois, Purdue, and Penn State, they've got the talent to sweep the cross-divisional, so they're in the hunt as well.
Well, let's start with Nebraska and pick up there. When you talk about what they're able to do from an offensive standpoint, really what they need to do is just correct their mistakes. Stop giving the football away, possess the ball, understand, take care of it. I think the defense will come along. That's going to be a challenge because since we've been covering them, that's been our biggest question about this team. The defense has not been playing at a high enough level. I've talked about Michigan State. I really like what they've done, a known commodity on the defensive side of the football. Yes, they have questions at the quarterback position, but I believe with the much improved offensive line that I believe they have, they'll be able to run the ball more consistently this year than they have in the past. And they'll need to do that, particularly once Big Ten play starts, because we don't know what's going to happen at the quarterback spot.
I think what's exciting, though, is you could construct an argument for any of these 4. You know, there is,
sure.
And again, I mean, that's, I suppose, part of what a 4-team race is about. But none of them, I don't think, I mean, sitting in my spot, I don't think any of the 4 would surprise me. You know, or you'd say, well, we thought maybe they had an outside shot. We kept them in the discussion. They're all 4 legitimate. Oh, yeah, I can see why that happened. I can see why that happened. but no one has the obvious overwhelming strengths to make them kind of the consensus favorite.
Just a few questions about them, or one major question, and I think that's the biggest thing. You talk about going out and trying to win a championship. Well, you mentioned it, Coach, you have to have outstanding quarterback play, but at the end of the day, defense wins championships, and all teams need, you look at Michigan. They're replacing some guys. They need some guys that are going to step up and play at a high level, particularly in the defensive line. But I think one thing that will be interesting, and we really haven't talked about this a lot, they jumped into the 30 front a lot last year, a little bit toward the end. So that'll be a difference maker for those guys.
Yeah, and to your point, Rever, if you look at the leaders, are we allowed to mention the leaders? I know it's tomorrow.
Yeah, that's tomorrow. Don't give them too much time, because then we'll have to make it up tomorrow and mention the legends more.
But there's a clear favorite there. I mean, I think
yes, no doubt. That's my point. Exactly.
Right, that's the difference. Every one of the legends that we're talking about competing, they all have issues. Michigan has talent, but they're young. We don't know about Nebraska's defense. If it's not better than it was a year ago, they won't be. What happens if Andrew Maxwell, who was named today the starter, if he has a breakout year? You can't tell me Michigan State's not in the hunt. They're a good team, but they have a great schedule. And Northwestern, tough schedule, but they've had tough schedules before. You know, that kind of fits his shtick. He doesn't say we're worried about the schedule.
What did we do last year this time when we were sitting there looking at this schedule? 3 BCS games?
Yeah, right.
Are you kidding
me?
Yeah,
who did this? Who set this up?
I thought it was a good idea. I think you were.
I think we still have some of the tapes that we could bring back.
No, it's a tapeless organization.
Some of the digital files,
Thank you.
perhaps.